Okay, somehow that worked. I'm glad you're all still here. Okay. I was pretty sure I completely ruined it and that we weren't going to be, I'm just going to have to send you a new link and all the things. So yay, that didn't happen. It's great news. And there are more of you here. Yay. Hi, welcome. I am actually coming to you today from Topanga, California, in this really cute Airbnb. You can see it kind of around me. I'm sitting on this like vintage couch. It's very perfect vibe for what we're about to talk about. And I have my little altar set up here, my like mobile altar, very witchy in a good way, yes. And so I've been on the road now for quite a few weeks. I don't even know, like, when did I actually leave Pennsylvania? But I've been in Phoenix for 10 days and then came to California, and here we are. I'm meeting you live from the West Coast. So yay, thanks for being here, you guys. You guys, that didn't roll off the tongue very well. Y'all, you ladies. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I was saying before, I don't know if all of you were here then, but I was saying how great it is to see some of your names and faces, people who I've connected with through Instagram, but we've never really connected in real time, or I've seen your name in the sign up form for this challenge and this training. And I'm excited to get to spend some time with you. And thank you for spending your evening or afternoon with me, depending on where you are. I'm really, really grateful that you're here and so excited to dive in with you today. So let me share my screen. I have a little presentation for you guys. And let me see if, let me just get this queued up. In the meantime, if you want to pop in the chat box and share where you are in the world, because I think we have people from like all over. So share where's home for you. And I'd also love to know, for you guys who already own businesses, what kind of business do you have, or what do you call yourself? What's your professional title? And have you made it through all 3 days of the Accelerate Your Income Challenge? Totally cool. If you didn't, I know it was a lot actually to throw at you guys. So for those of you who did, yay, you're all stars. But if you didn't, you can always do it like tomorrow or tonight after this training if you feel called. So pop that in the chat box, where you're from, what you do, what your business is, and whether you were able to do all 3 days of the challenge, only a couple, none. Just let us know where you are. And then also, I would love to hear what your intention is for tonight. What is it that you are really excited about right now? And what is it that you came here to learn? What would you love to take away? So whatever of that you caught and feel called to share in the comments is perfect while I get this queued up for us. And then we'll get started and dive right in. I'm seeing that. Oh, yay. Okay, yes. Yes, Sarah is in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. She's a floral designer. She's awesome. She's actually in the next round of the Business Alchemy Circle with me, one of my programs. I'm so excited. She's already like killing it, even though we haven't even started really officially yet, just through our messages together. It's been really awesome. Allie, I met in Scottsdale, and she runs a healing and empowerment business called Allie Ray Transformation. She just started in October. She does so many great things. I'm going to try to find a way to connect all of us after this call as well, so that you kind of have this little pod of women that you can swap info with if you'd like to connect. Or we could do, at the end, share your Instagram handle or something like that. We'll figure that out. Yes, hoping to learn how to tangibly start attracting clients. I've had a few, but need to reach new people, start generating income, pay my bills, etc. Yes, very good. Yes, hi, Alexandra. Hold on, I'm scrolling up. From Miami, nutritionist and chef, and have a consultation business and cooking classes. Amazing. So many soulful, amazing women on this call right now. So I can feel it. The vibe is very high. Alex Barone, Pittsburgh. Woo! life and stylist coach for people who want more confidence and empowerment in their lives. Yay, you've done 2 days of the challenge. Awesome. Yes, working smarter. That's what we're going to talk about tonight as well. So important. Okay. Getting this sorted for us. Now let me see if I can enter presenter view. Yeah, no, that's not what I want to do. Okay. We'll figure this thing out. Okay. I am going to share my screen. Can you all see this? You know, okay, I see Sarah nodding and I can't really see the comments anymore. So great. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Let's dive in. I'm so excited. So obviously, for those of you who just signed up today, you probably haven't had a chance to go through all of the challenges, but just to let you know, if you are on this call, then you've likely received emails from me throughout this week for 3 days for the Accelerate Your Income Challenge. Today, this training is sort of like the cap, and we're closing out our challenge with this training to help you bring everything full circle and tie it all together and really to support you. And then I'm going to answer some questions at the end as well. So as we're going, if you have a journal, take some notes and jot down any questions that come up for you. And yeah, so if you haven't met me, or if you're new here, I should probably introduce myself. So I'm Emily Cassel. I'm a Soulful Business Coach for women entrepreneurs. I have been doing this work for this is my 6th year in business full time. I was trained as a coach, a certified coach, and also studied positive psychology, nutrition, and sustainable food systems in college. I went to an all-women's college, so really learned so much about the power of sisterhood through that experience, and also, so much, but ultimately was just surrounded in this really cool incubator of like amazing women doing trailblazing things and taking risks and taking leaps into entrepreneurship and politics and business otherwise, and just so many things that I was exposed at a very pivotal time in my life to seeing so many women just being immersed in women sharing their stories of how they were really trailblazing, doing things differently, and making the world work for them versus trying to fit into a box that was already created. So that's a little bit about my background. A lot of people like to know that. I am completely, like when I started my business, I had been working at a magazine publishing company in Pittsburgh, actually, for like a year and a half, and knew that it wasn't really what I wanted to do deep down long term, and left that job and kind of took a leap without a real plan. Like I was trained as a coach and I knew how to build a successful coaching business. Like I had the skills and the information, but I hadn't implemented it yet. So when I left my full-time job, I probably literally had $300 to my name. Probably not the smartest move, but I'm grateful for it in retrospect because it really made me be resourceful and figure shit out. I also have invested in my own business and myself in masterminds and coaching since the very, very, very beginning. And it's something that I believe in so wholeheartedly that has made all the difference. I personally have not ever had, obviously when I went out on my own, I was 22 and definitely did not have a savings account, definitely did not have a 401k, definitely did not have a wealthy partner or spouse, definitely did not have family money, definitely did not have much of anything except for a lot of trust and faith in myself and my vision, and a lot of chutzpah and passion, and knowing that I could probably figure this out if I gave myself the right tools, the right environment, and just kept going. I was sort of at the place where I'm sure a lot of you have been in the past before you started your business, or maybe even really recently, where I was like, why would I sit here behind a desk and build someone else's dream for like 8 hours a day when I could just, if I were putting this much energy and time and love into building my own, I would be so much further along. So That's how I started. And since I've been at the second month of my coach training program, even though I was working full time, I started coaching my first 2 paying clients, which was really awesome and much earlier than my peers. And for me, business has always just made a lot of sense. It's felt like a really natural place for me to share my gifts, and something that just came really easily to me. And just for whatever reason, I have this sort of affinity for business and to do business in a really soulful, feminine way. I personally grew up and was very much a high achiever. I wanted to get out of like mediocrity in my family environment, and I grew up in a family where literally everyone still lives in the same town within like 10 minutes of each other. And I knew that I wanted so much more for my life and for my experience and for my career and for my financial well-being and all of these things. And I'm like the first person in my family to leave the country, to build a business like this, to I shouldn't say build a business. That's not really true, but to build a successful business, to do a lot of things. And I know that for a lot of the women in my community, and maybe for some of you as well who are here live with us or who are watching the recording, that that's the case for you too, that you are often the trailblazer, that you are the one who is carving out a new path for yourself, for your family, for your lineage, for your future, for the women who are coming before and after you in your family line. And those are really big things to do. And I just want to acknowledge that, because I know that I often don't give myself enough credit for being the first one who's been willing and having to figure out like, what's the necessary mindset for that? And how do you actually do it? Like, I didn't come out of the womb knowing how to run a successful coaching business online and lead international retreats and do all the things that I do and work with awesome women. But these things are learnable and teachable and coachable. And so I'm so glad that you're all here, because that shows me that you are really probably in a similar boat. You're like really ready to go big and play big in your business and in your life, and that you are serious about doing your soul's work, meaning both on the internal level and the external level, your soul's work in terms of healing and overcoming blocks and rewiring your internal operating system to make space to actually listen to what your soul is saying to you and act accordingly, and trust yourself and trust that intuition, trust that inner guidance, etc. And also that you're willing to do your soul's work and take it seriously, that you're putting something out into the world that is your heart, that you're doing work that really feels aligned for you and has you come alive in a different way. And I don't take that lightly. I think some people may, and I think that is like the coolest, most badass, courageous thing you can ever do with your life. And I really, like, everything that I do is about supporting you to do that well and to build the business that your soul came here to create, whether you're at the place that you're launching, growing, or scaling. I have different offerings for all of that. So just to give you a little overview of like, who the heck are you? And to give you a little bit of background on me, because I think a lot of people, I want to skip over that and just get right to the juice of what I'm here to share with you today. But I think that's really actually quite important to have context, because I know that, and I've shared about this recently on Instagram for those of you who are there, but I know that this industry is quite saturated, and there are a lot of people who are out there who aren't actually in it for the right reasons. That sounds like for my Bachelor fans out there, it sounds like such a Bachelor thing to say, like, you're not here for the right reasons. And I know that we can all relate to that. Like, we all probably find ourselves in a relatively saturated industry, or at least that's our perception of it. And I just want to remind us all that we all bring something so unique to the table, and that is our medicine. That is our medicine to the world, to those people that we serve, and to our own self, that we need to really recognize our own gifts and rise into them and be willing to share them without being scared that we might be judged, or without hiding behind our own blocks or limitations because you are brilliant and courageous and wonderful and worthy and all of those things. So that brings us to this training, which is 6 steps to double your income in 6 months or less. And I'm so grateful you're here. So thank you for joining us. I already did that. Okay, great. I'm going a little out of order here, apparently. So why you're here. We've talked about this a little bit, but I would love to know from each of you, what is the biggest challenge and what is the greatest desire that you're currently experiencing in your business? And you can pop that in the chat box, and I'm going to see if I can find a way to either, let me find this chat box. Yay, okay, I can see all of it now. So type into the chat box, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing right now in your business, and what is the biggest desire that you have at this time? Like, what do you really want? I think sometimes we can get so caught up in doing things the right way, and really, I'm a big believer in there is no right way to create or lead your business. There's only the right way for you. There's not an objectively correct way or wrong way to do it. And that's because no one has ever built your business before. Like, yes, there are best practices. There are things that work well. And I share those inside of my programs, of course, with my clients. But also, I really want to empower each of you who's here to get in touch with, like, what is it that I really want, and how do I want this thing to run, and how do I want my life to be as the leader of this business, and as the CEO of this company, and as the, leader and creator of my life. Because ultimately, I think a lot of people believe that when you're running a business, you have to hustle and push and force and all this stuff that's very, very masculine energetically. And it doesn't have to look that way, but those are the models that we have at this time in history, because that's what we've seen. That's who was writing all the books on business. That's who was creating the whole work environment was created and built around what worked well for men. So I really want you to think about today, throughout our conversation, throughout this training, what is it that you really want, and what is the biggest challenge, and how do you create a business that flows, that's sustainable, that creates great income for you, that feels enlivening, instead of something that feels like you're just kind of taking a structure that doesn't feel good and using someone else's cookie cutter methods to apply to your business, and then feeling like you've almost created a box for yourself, even though technically you've created the circumstances of being free. A lot of times, oh, sorry, 1 second. Hi. Hi. Everything good? Yes, everything's good. Thank you. Okay. That's my Airbnb host. I didn't get to say hi to her yet. So yes, I am going to share some of the comments and just read them for those of you who are on the recording. So Allie says, the biggest challenge is finding clients. The greatest desire is to help women around the world break free from limitations, love themselves and their bodies, and connect to the root of what lights them up with empowerment. Awesome. Sarah says, I want to design and not do any of the financial details. I love doing intakes and designing for my clients. The back end stuff is not my favorite. Yes, totally resonate with that. So wanting to operate in your zone of genius more frequently, and also have the systems in place to create a business that isn't like financially irresponsible, but that you have that covered in some way, either a system or delegation or something, so that it's taken care of, but you aren't the one who has to be driving it all the time or have your hands in it all the time. Great. Alexandra says, my biggest challenge is meeting new clients and having people show up to my workshops. My greatest desire is to travel and to do speaking engagements so that I can help people on a bigger scale. Absolutely. Yes. Increasing our impact is so important. And creating those connections and collaborations and building a community and a tribe, if you want to call it that, is so important. And it's an ongoing outreach. It's a living, breathing thing. I've found it's not like, oh, suddenly this just happened, So yes. Okay. Brittany says, that is the exact thing that happened to me during a call. Oh, yeah. Finding a way to have more ideal days, not having to get up super early for my day job so frequently. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. crafting the schedule and the spaciousness and the lifestyle that you actually want to be living, doing fulfilling work. Absolutely. Jennifer says, serving my existing marketing clients well while simultaneously launching my own brands, which I'm very passionate about. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you can have it both ways. And I think my experience, like I shared, was I kind of leapt before I was ready and just like trusted that the net would appear, and it did. And that's not everyone's experience. I think it's very wise to have an investor, which is what I like to call a full-time job when you're building a side hustle, building a business at first as you get started, so that you have income and you're not putting so much pressure on yourself or creating stress unnecessarily or creating a scarcity mentality and infusing that into everything about your business from the get-go. I think that's very, very wise. And I love that. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing, ladies who are live. So that's why you're here. And maybe for those of you watching the recording or those of you who didn't share, maybe some of that resonates and is like, yes, me too. I ditto, me too, sister. I feel you. Yes. Okay. So what you've already created. So if you have done the Accelerate Your Income Challenge, or if you have the tools to work through this at your own pace over the next day or two, then that means that you have, just to recap what we did on day one, you have aligned your energy, attention, and action and have the plan there around tracking your time and your energy expenditure. You've figured out where your time and attention are actually going and where ideally they will go. And there was so much other stuff on day one. I can't even remember all of it at the moment, to be honest. It was non-negotiables and a couple other things. Your daily rituals for flow. So you have somewhat of a structure now around your time and energy and how you're actually putting things out and how you're operating your business from the back end of knowing how your time and energy are managed, and then knowing what your income generating actions are. Thank you, Sarah. The income generating actions that actually create money in your business when you do them. So those are those high leverage tasks that are like the 20% of effort that creates 80% of the results. We've all heard of the 80-20 rule, hopefully by this time. If not, that's what it means. And then on day two, we focused on identifying and filling the gaps in your systems. And I know someone, Allie, reached out to me and said, I don't have a lot of these because they don't apply to my business. And or she said, or I don't think they do, but maybe they do. And these are some of the things that I think, depending on the industry that you're in, right? It can vary and change, but what I put into that checklist for you guys is really like, for any industry, no matter what you're doing, you likely need this or something similar. And so hopefully you've gone through that and just identified like, hey, this is what I need to create. This is what already exists. And if there's anything that needs an update that I'm not super stoked about right now, or that feels a little bit out of alignment, could use some tweaking, then I've identified that as well by putting like a star next to it or highlighting it or something different to identify those things that are in place, but maybe aren't feeling super good, or maybe you've sort of evolved as a brand and a business out of them and out of what you currently have, and are ready to kind of like revamp. Okay. So I would love to know also from you ladies in the chat box, how far into your business are you? Are you full-time? How many years in? How many months in? What is the, like, just where are you in your business journey? How would you define it? Are you launching, growing, or scaling? Yes. Okay. So Sarah says 14 months full-time, growing. Yay. Full-time, about halfway through the second year. Awesome. Oh, and then on day 3 of the challenge, to recap while you're sharing where you are in your business journey, we talked about crafting streams of revenue and defining the 3 tiers of income generation, which is also known as a sales funnel or sales pyramid, if you want to use those terms. So yeah, so we've done a lot of work already this week, or you have a lot of work that you could be doing just to kind of clean up your business and get a feel for like where you actually are. 4th month, full-time, launching, no measurable income yet. Yes. Okay, great. Awesome. 10 years of owning Rooted ID. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Didn't see you were on here. I'm excited to talk to you tomorrow. But wanting to launch a startup. Yes. Okay, perfect. I think this is so interesting too, because everybody can be like, we all come to this journey, right, from like a different place. We're all coming to this conversation from a different place, potentially. Starting my 2nd year, part-time coaching, want to shift to full-time. Awesome, awesome. Kelly, growing 2 years in and rapidly expanding. Woohoo! Yay! Awesome, awesome. You rock. All of you rock, no matter where you are or how much money you're making. Doesn't matter. You all rock. Okay. Great. So that's where you are. I want you to take a moment to just identify, like, do a quick brain dump in your journal. What do you want more of and what do you want less of? The way things are right now, like, what would you love to have more of? What would you love amplified? What would you love a greater frequency of? And what do you want less of? And then you can share that in the comments with us, or in the chat box as well with us. I'll just give you a moment to do that. Oh, and I have a card for us that I pulled and I forgot to read. So maybe I'll do that while you're writing. So if you're finished early. So before this call, I pulled an oracle card, which I often do. And this is from the Divine Feminine deck by Megan Watterson. And I love this deck. It's beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. The messages are beautiful. And I pulled the High Priestess, Enedwana, I believe. I could be butchering that name. Beautiful card, if you can see this. And the message on the card says, I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love, which felt really appropriate for the topic and also the perspective and just what we're doing here today. So the soul voice meditation for this card is what allows me to experience the reality of my soul. So what allows me to experience the reality of my soul? And so as you're considering what you want more of, what you want less of, consider also what allows you to experience the reality of your soul. And perhaps that's what you want more of. And then whatever feels like it shrinks the ability to experience the reality of your soul, perhaps that's what you want less of. So just an additional query for you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your rapid responses in this chat box, ladies. This is so fun. Okay. I want more work. I want peace of mind in personal and professional life, less stress about managing money, being honest in my work. Absolutely. More speaking engagements, income, workshops, attendees, clients, less empty time, financial drain on my retirement. Great. Yes. Mm-hmm. Sarah says the first and foremost, so important to me. Yeah. Absolutely. Less empty time. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. And it's funny too, because in the beginning of a business or in a slow season, right? Like it's always like, oh, what is it that, I can do to fill this space, like, and get full and have a full roster of clients. And then once we do, we're like, oh, I didn't appreciate that time when I had it, that it was like so awesome, to have the space to do the strategic work. And I find that actually, I think I just shared this the other day with someone in a mastermind program, that it's funny because I find that often, like when we have a slower moment in our businesses, or when we have that space, even when we're resisting it, it's often an invitation to do more strategic work, more high level work, to look at things from a bird's eye perspective instead of getting into the nitty gritty and the daily, like, task rabbit things that we could be doing when our time is full, or when our schedule or our roster or whatever is full. Yeah. free time that I can own as mine for personal or work time that is for clients, but not a no man's land where there's empty time that isn't defined as work or personal. Yeah, beautiful distinction. More connection and financial freedom, speaking engagements, workshops, friendships, community, purposeful work and conversations, travel, less work that doesn't feel purposeful, less scarcity. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. In this, Christy says, I'm in that slow moment in my business, and it's a weird space of feeling like, oh shit, did everything just stop, or am I retreating for something bigger? Yes. Sometimes I also find that in those moments, it's like we have to pull the arrow back to shoot it forward, right? So when we're aiming at a certain target or goal or vision or something, it's like we need that backward motion to create the momentum that propels us forward. And we often don't see it that way. But I feel like through working with so many women and seeing this again and again and again in my own life and in their businesses and lives, it's like, this is just part of the process. It's a season, everything in our businesses and lives is so cyclical, and yet we want it all always to be like in summer mode and full bloom, and like everything's just bursting, and it's not the way it always works. And we have to learn to dance with that. And that's part of the journey. And that's what I think that's the part that actually makes entrepreneurship hard. Sarah said my work is always blooming because she's a florist. So that's funny. I love it. Okay, great. So I hear a lot of you saying, and I anticipated this, right? Making more money in your business in one way or another, right? Having more clients, having more income, having more ability, like more flexibility financially to be able to invest in certain things in your business, build a new website, yada, yada, all the things. And I think sometimes as women too, we can have a tendency to be like, oh, well, I only need this much, like I just need this much. And I want us all to take a moment to just like claim how much money do you actually want to make, and let it be like a big number that feels kind of scary or intimidating to you, but like claim it. Do you want to make 6 figures? Do you want to make $500,000 next year? Do you want to make $200,000 next year? What is it that you actually want to be making? Not what do you feel like is what you're actually going to get if you work really, really hard. What is it that you actually feel would be a great win for you? What is the financial goal that actually feels like, yes, that feels so good and like spacious and juicy when I think about it, when I feel into it, it feels abundant. Yes. Okay. Yeah. 75K would be nice. 100K feels juicy. Yes. Go for juicy. So what's your juicy number? We'll call it that. What's your juicy number? Put that in the chat box if you would like to declare it, or just write it down and keep that number for yourself to aim for, because I think sometimes we're afraid to claim it. We're afraid to say that. And a lot of times it's like, I'm afraid to say it because what if it doesn't happen and then I'm disappointed, or I feel like I failed or something. But like, shoot for the stars and shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars. It's kind of like that philosophy, right? We never quite know exactly how it's going to work out. But then if we have a goal or a target that we're aiming at, then we know how we can reverse engineer and build it out, which is so important. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, 250K in 2020, then onward and upward from there. 500,000. Yes. Yes. 1 million would make me feel empowered. I don't expect that by next year, of course, but I want to work up to that. Yes. Awesome. I love this. Big numbers, right? It feels good to just like say it and get it out there and declare it, doesn't it? To be like, I want to be wealthy. I want to feel free. I want to be able to buy that house or that car or whatever I need to, or just like invest in your business. For me, we all have different values as well. Like we all have different ways that we want to spend our money when we have it. And so think about like, what are the things that you would do if you did have that? What is it that you would want more of? Because sometimes when we do that, I found that then we start to realize sometimes it's not about the money. It's just about the way we're organizing our time and attention and orienting our lives. And if we know, okay, sometimes we think we need all this money to be able to live the way we want to live. And ultimately, it's almost like it's a moment to moment decision more so than like you know, that we need to hit this milestone so that then we can blah, 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 feel the way we want to feel, do what we actually want to do, feel safe enough to do what we want to do, right? Or what we know we need to do to grow to the next level beyond that, or to feel satisfied, or to feel taken care of, or whatever. So yeah, like, what's your why behind making the money that you want to make in your business? Not that you have to justify it, but just for yourself, what would you do when you do have that money coming in? What would be different for you? Okay. Yeah. So what would be possible for you if you were to double your income in the next 6 months? Let's think about that. What would be different? What would shift for you? What would be possible? What would you be able to do that you weren't able to do before? What would more money, more resources be able to create for you in the next 6 months if you were to double the income that you're making? And if you're making zero, don't double that, because that's still zero. So let's say, a realistic amount in the next 6 months. What would that look like? What would be different in your life? What would you feel? What would you be able to experience? Who would you become in the process if you were able to double your income in the next 6 months? And you don't have to share it. You can if you want, but I'm going to move on so that we cover everything today, because we're already like 40 minutes in. Oh my God. Okay. So let's move on to, I promised you 6 steps. So the first step is mastering your message. I find that a lot of the women who come to me for coaching and who are having trouble getting consistent clients, having a consistent flow, creating consistent income, it's because their messaging isn't clear enough, or their audience isn't clear enough. And I don't mean, I'm not a big, huge proponent of like, you have to have your ideal client avatar. I don't actually know that that's always necessary at the beginning. But what I do know and believe is necessary is that you're really clear on who you serve, the problem you solve for them, and like the value that you provide to your ideal client, whoever that may be. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, this exact, person of this age or whatever. But like, I, for a long time in my business, was attracting women who were like, I couldn't put them into an avatar. It was like one would be 55 and one would be 26. And it was like across the board. It wasn't the traditional, like, put this into an avatar clientele. So I get it if you're in that boat where you're like, oh, I don't know. They're all across the board. It's scattery. The challenge, though, is that if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So we do need to get clear on your message, your mission, your, like, what it is that you're actually saying and doing, and what's the problem that you're solving for people. Otherwise, it just sounds generic and it gets lost. Especially, like I said earlier, most of us are probably operating in what we would call a saturated market of some kind, or at least it feels that way. And there are other options that people can go with. And so we really want to be clear that, like, this is what I stand for. I'm putting my stake in the ground around this message, around what I do. And your message and what you do and how you do it are like related, but they're separate ideas, right? Like, your message is the way in which you speak to your ideal client, so that you speak directly to the heart, and that you're speaking so clearly and specifically about the challenge that they're going through and where they are and where they want to be, that they're like, oh my gosh, yes, you're the person to support me with this. I need that. And that's what I'm looking for. And that's where I am. And yes, right? So that's the first piece. Now, the question you can ask yourself about this is, what is the problem I solve and the solution I offer to my ideal clients? What is the problem I solve and the solution I offer for my ideal clients? So I think a lot of times, even in an Instagram bio, and I included this, I think, in the checklist on day 2, but a lot of people are very unclear about what it is that they actually do and what the problem is that they actually solve. Even if they're like, oh yeah, I'm a florist, or I'm a coach, or I'm a whatever. Yes, and what does that actually mean? How do you do it? How are you unique? What is the problem that you are solving and the solution that you are offering to your ideal clients? And what is it that's going to make them actually say yes to you and become a client, or want to come to an event, or want to sign up for a program, or want to take the next step with you in some way? It's that they need your messaging to be so crystal clear that they're like, oh, she's speaking to me, right? And so that's the first piece, is like really getting clear on your messaging. And this is one of the first things that I do with all of my clients in every program that I offer, actually. But especially in the Business Alchemy Circle program, because we have private coaching included there, I am like, the first thing that we do, and my clients actually feel like this is magic. It's very fun. So we just like dive in. I listen to them talk. They feel like they're word vomiting. And then I reflect back to them exactly the problem they solve and the solution they're offering to their ideal clients and what makes them unique. And they're like, how the hell did you just do that? It's so fun for me. For some reason, it's like a really good skill that I have. And it comes really naturally and it's fun. But not everybody can do that. And I definitely know it's very hard to do that for ourselves, because we're so in it and we're so close to our work that we can't even see our own brilliance and our own genius and what it is that we are actually doing in our work for the people that we serve. So that's where having support and having reflection is super necessary, because this is like the core of your whole business is like your messaging and what it is that you actually are solving and the solution you're offering. Otherwise, no one's going to pay you to do it. Right? Like, unless you're actually providing something of value, which would be solving a problem and offering a solution, it's very hard to get people to actually pay you. It actually feels very open-ended and wishy-washy and like, okay, yeah, but what am I going to get? Okay, that sounds cool, but like, what am I actually doing with you? Or what am I signing up for? Or what's the result that I'm aiming for? And I know that also, just based on what you've shared and who's on this call and what industries you work in, I know that with service-based industries, it can be hard to have like a deliverable when you do something more abstract. Like if you have a product-based business or a service-based business that provides something really tangible, and there's like a deliverable and an output that comes out of a contract or an agreement, like a website or a floral arrangement or something like that, someone can be like, oh, okay, I know what that is. It can feel really challenging to actually put that into words and make it sound the way you want it to sound and really communicate that clearly. And so that's something that we work on inside of my coaching programs as well, in depth. Obviously, this is a free training that we have like an hour and a half to do. So I can't do that for each and every one of you right here, right now, even though I would love to. But yeah, it's really, really important that you have that super clear. And this is the key, the first key to unlock doubling your income in 6 months or less, or any time frame really, but quickly. The second step is to align with your vision and mission. And this is basically being very clear on like, this is what I stand for, and this is what I'm aiming toward. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know we hear, Simon Sinek, start with why and all these things. And if you've been in the personal development realm or business development realm, or you've read the books and you've listened to the podcast, you've probably heard this. It's kind of buzzy, like a buzzword or buzz term or phrase. It's kind of like a sexy thing to talk about, but really, truly, it is so important that you are aligned with your vision and mission and the way that you want your business to be. We talked about this a little bit earlier tonight, but just having a crystallized, clear vision of like, what is the business that I want to lead? What is the life that I want to live? A lot of people don't actually have that. And even if you think you do already, it's kind of vague for most people. It's kind of rare that most people actually sit down and get so crystal clear and write out a clear vision and mission statement that feels like it clicks everything into place and just like is cohesive with everything that they're doing, and that feels really good, so that they can talk about what they do clearly with people that they meet or want to collaborate with or whatever, that it's really clear that this is my mission. And also same with messaging kind of here, it sets you apart in a way that you feel so potent in what it is that you're doing and so clear and aligned, and people feel that alignment from you. It's an energetic thing. and energy does not lie. And I think a lot of times in a sales process, people feel when you're off. Like, people feel when there's a wobble within you around what you offer, how you offer it, what you charge, whatever. And so feeling really solid in this, aligning with your vision and mission, is so important. So the question to ask yourself here is, what does success actually look and feel like to me? Not to my mom or my friend who also runs a business or my other mentor or Marie Forleo or whoever. No, your business, the thing that you came here to create, the thing that your soul is here for. What is it that like success in that capacity actually looks and feels like? Because I think there's a tendency to be like, oh, okay, well, if I'm a coach, then I need to write a book and I need to have this 10,000 person e-course and I need to do speaking engagements, or I need to run retreats, or whatever the things are that we've seen modeled to us, or that we've seen, reflected to us in our own industries. Your business doesn't have to look like that. And there are infinite ways that you can create something that's totally fulfilling and feels like freedom to you, and that allows your creativity and your genius to flow and be so potent and impactful for the people that you're here to serve. So let everything else go and just let's focus on, what does success actually look and feel like to you as an individual and as a soul having a human experience that is here for a purpose? What is it that you feel would actually define your success? Most people don't know this. You might have an idea. A lot of you I know are super smart, super wise, super clear probably on some of these things, but there's still like a refinement that happens because this is a living, breathing like question and inquiry to be in. It can change all the time. And I know I just spoke to one of my mastermind clients earlier today, and one of the things we talked about was like, when you've achieved everything you set out to achieve at this moment, everything's now it's like you enter a totally different level of your success and your experience in your business, and everything like reorients around what the new vision is. And so this is something that's like an ever-evolving algorithmic equation that you have to keep revisiting over time, again and again and again, because things change so rapidly, especially when you're growing, you're healing, you're changing, you're shifting, you're doing your inner work. These things can shift and be totally not what they were a month ago when you're in the process of evolution in your business and in your life. So a reminder there that if you haven't checked in on your vision or what success actually looks and feels like to you based on the last year of your experience, or the last 6 months, or the last day of what you've learned and the intel you've gathered through engaging with your life and your work, this is the moment to consider that. Okay, step 3 is creating multiple and clear revenue streams that flow. We've talked about this. This is day 3, but of course there's so much more than just mapping it out, but actually coming up with the right structures for delivery, the pricing, the branding, marketing, all the pieces of those offerings and revenue streams that actually support one another and that feel cohesive. I work with a lot of women who are very multi-passionate and have a lot of interests and know a lot of things. And sometimes the struggle is, okay, well, I could create all of these things. I have so many ideas and I don't know which ones are actually meant for me to be the creator of, and which ones are just like a cool idea, and which ones are happening 2 years from now, and which ones are meant to be taken action on right now and created right now to be of service. And so a lot of the work that we do together is about like peeling those things apart and architecting the right revenue streams that actually flow and support the financial outcomes that you want to have and the impact outcomes you want to have, but also that feel really sustainable and nourishing for you as a human being running your business, because it is so easy to get burnt out, especially with what we've all been taught and told and conditioned to believe we have to do to be successful, and the way that we have to relate to our work or our businesses. And all of that is so not true. We can do it any way we want it, and it doesn't have to be that way. And if we're perpetuating that same ideology and that same perspective and that same mentality around working so hard, then we're basically just creating that in our own lives and reinforcing it and making it true, but it doesn't have to be. And so a lot of what I work with my clients around is like, let's question the assumptions also that we're holding and how we're relating to our work, because your business is a relationship at the end of the day. Everything that in life is a relationship. How I'm relating to this article of clothing is a relationship. How I'm relating to my body is a relationship. How I'm relating to my work is a relationship. And so it's like basically a relationship is anything that has space between you and something else. You have a relationship with it. And so the energetic relationship between you and your business is something that we need to pay attention to and notice, like, how can this flow more versus be something that feels forced or contrived or out of alignment or whatever. But like, how do we create such clarity and cohesion and integration throughout all of your business and all of your work that everything feels so like an exhale, and it's juicy and pleasurable and in flow, so that is the energy that you are embodying and can then magnetize. Because that, when we want more flow and we want more money and we want more income, we have to be vibrating at the level and the frequency that exists at, which is higher than where we probably are right now. Okay, so the question I would love for you to ask yourself around this one is, where is the money currently flowing into my business, and how is that feeling for me? Sometimes I talk to a lot of women who, at times feel like this is the way I'm making money, but like, I hate it. It sucks. It sucks the life out of me. This is what's working, but like, ideally I wouldn't be doing it this way. Or I feel like I have to offer this way, and so I am, but I don't love it. Or it feels really depleting, or I'm not feeling energized by it, or it's just not, I'm not excited to talk about it and promote it, and so it's not really happening. So just consider, like, where is the money actually flowing into your business? What are your biggest money makers right now? Or what would you like them to be if you're at a different stage in your business? And how is that feeling? Like, how are you relating to it? How does it feel? Does it feel in flow? Does it feel choppy? Does it feel forced? What's going on there? Can you examine the relationship there between yourself and the way that money is coming into your business? Okay, step 4 is take massive action. Obviously, I'm a big fan of this one. For those of you who are familiar with human design, I am a generator. And also, for those of you who are into the Enneagram, I am a 7. And you might have guessed that. If you're into the Enneagram, you could probably guess that by now. If you've followed me or listened to anything that I've said, I'm definitely a 7. And I love action taking. And I know that this is something that a lot of women, there are so many things that stop us from taking those big action steps, from taking those leaps, from putting out those feelers, from sending the emails, from asking the questions, from having the conversations, from going to the events, to networking, to all the pieces of what it takes to run your business successfully. And at the end of the day, it's not just like any action, but strategic action that actually matters. Doing the things that actually generate income and revenue for your business, that actually are generating energy for you, taking massive action on opportunities and putting yourself out there and being visible and being consistent about it. These things are so, so important. And I see a lot of women get stuck in overwhelm and not take the necessary actions, or not do the things that they know are necessary to get to the next phase of their growth and development and income and, growing their business and making more money, because there's resistance, there's fear, there's self-doubt, there's a lot of internal challenges that arise when we take massive action. Because when we're doing big work and big things and we're doing what we're here to do, of course there's going to be resistance around it. Not because it's not what we're supposed to be doing, but because we have to evolve into the next version of ourselves to be ready to meet those things. And so we're being asked constantly on the entrepreneurial journey to grow and evolve and shift and change and become the leader that we're here to be, the entrepreneur that we're here to be, the woman that we're here to be, so that we can meet our success as it comes. And that requires taking massive action and getting uncomfortable a lot of the time. And also taking massive action is, we're going to deal with uncertainty. You're going to deal with a lot of unknowns. And so learning to navigate that gracefully is something that is so important, and something that I teach all the time and talk about all the time, because it's so important and integrated into your entrepreneurial journey. And if you're not taking massive action consistently in a strategic way, not just throwing spaghetti at the wall, but like, what's happening, you have a clear plan, you know exactly when things are coming out, and like you feel prepared, then you don't have to hold it all in here and create this tightness and rigidity and anxiety around, oh my God, what's happening next? Am I ready? I don't know. And there's less resistance and less fear and less self-doubt because you have a plan and you are prepared and you know that you can do it. And you have the support around you to say like, hey, how's that going? And let's do it. And I'm here with you, and I'm going to hold your hand, and we're going to walk through the fire together. So my question to you, loves, is what's the most important action I'm avoiding taking in my business? Because often I've found that the thing that we're avoiding is the thing we actually need to do more of. So if for some people it's like filming videos of myself because I'm really uncomfortable with being on camera and I've never had to do that before, and you're asking me to do that, and that's really freaking scary and weird, and I don't know. Or even post pictures of myself on Instagram so people know me. Sarah's pointing at herself. I know this is you, Lovey. So yeah, like, what is the thing you're resisting? Is it sending emails consistently? Is it posting on social media? Is it having going to networking events and like leaving your house and getting out from the vortex of behind your computer? Is it sending emails and asking for PR opportunities and media interviews and podcasts and like getting yourself out there and getting the message out about your work? Is it investing in yourself or something? Like, what is it for you that you're avoiding doing that would actually be totally game changing for you if you were to muster up the courage and the bravery to just do the thing, do the damn thing? Okay. Wait. Did I go too far? Go back. Yeah. Okay. Step 5, set up your systems for consistency. This kind of goes hand in hand with taking massive action, actually having the systems in place so that you can maintain consistency without burning out and having to be doing all the time, but that these things are outsourced, that there are systems in place for repeatable processes, for things that you have to do for a lot of the admin, the accounting, all that stuff in your business that's like, ugh, this is a necessary piece of running a business successfully, and I don't want to do that. I had a lot of resistance around this for a long time, so I get it if that's where you are. A lot of women actually, I've heard say, feel like, well, if I have structure or systems, then I don't feel as free or creative, and that's actually just not at all true. There's a way to create systems that's spacious and creates so much more freedom and less overwhelm, and allows you to just be able to actually shut off your brain when you're not working, so that you can relax and rejuvenate and come back feeling even more fulfilled and excited and alive again. But I think a lot of people don't really know how to do that well. And I've had to learn this and kind of figure it out and piece it together as I go in my own business over the last 6 years, because I hadn't seen anyone who was actually doing this the way I would want to do it, that was spacious and allowed for freedom and creativity and ease, and it could be flexible and not rigid. And so this is the kind of systems I'm talking about. It's like, what is it that we actually need in place so that we can feel even more free, even more in flow, even more fulfilled in our businesses and in our lives outside of our businesses, because we are also humans, and we aren't human doings, we're human beings. And so we need that space to be and to recharge. And it can't always be about work, and that's not how we're going to actually create the most impact in our businesses or in our lifetime. It's not through working all the time, constantly, always being like what we would deem as productive by being in action. Rest is also incredibly productive when it's done in the right way. And a lot of times people fear that, well, if I, rest, or if I shut off from work, or if I disconnect, then I'll lose the momentum. And that's not true. But oftentimes it can happen that way if you don't have the system set up to support you and to come back to it, so that it's not a system that's only in your mind and body, but it's something that as you grow, you can delegate out, that it's a clear process, that you know that you can come back to it, and you're not relying on memory or brain power to run your business constantly, because that's freaking exhausting. And I've been there, and I get that. So yeah, Christy said, that's such a good point. It's easy as a creative person to feel like your energy is everywhere. Yes. So that's why we need those systems, because I get the idea that like, oh, well, that could feel really stifling, but it doesn't when you do it in a way that's spacious and smart, so that you don't have to work so hard all the time. So the question here is, where are you holding yourself back from showing up fully in your business to create the results that you desire? What are the systems and things that aren't yet in place, that you're relying on your own brain power, willpower, memory, etc. to do? And actually that's holding you back from showing up fully in your business and creating the results that you desire. So where are you doing that? Okay. Step 6, are you ready? Step 6 is invest in your most valuable resource. Does anyone have an idea of what that might be? I would love to hear your ideas. So if, for those of you who are jumping off early, I will send you the recording, and be sure that you watch it within 24 hours, because you can just fast forward to where you left off, because there are some really great things I'm offering at the end. So just so you know. Yes, Jennifer, got it. Yourself. Yes, your most valuable resource, obviously, is you as a human and as an entrepreneur. You are the thing that's powering your business. You're literally the fuel source for everything, for all the different pieces. You are the creator. You are the CEO. You're the visionary. You are the delegator. You are sometimes the taskmaster, depending on what stage of business you're in, before you can really well, that's not actually true, because you can always outsource to a system as well. There's a common misconception there that I can't delegate until I have enough money to be able to hire someone at $15 an hour or something, and that's just not true. And so, yes, investing in your most valuable resource. I spoke about this earlier, but your internal operating system, your mindset, your energy, your capacity, your everything is steering the ship here. And this is the thing that I see a lot of women entrepreneurs wait too long to do, unfortunately, is invest in themselves, and invest in something like coaching, or a mastermind, or a group coaching program, or having some container to hold space for them, because no one is actually holding you accountable as the leader of your business. And that's like harsh to hear, but it's so true, isn't it? That like, if you don't hit a goal, or if you don't follow through with something that you know is important, you can be really hard on yourself, but you can also let yourself off the hook pretty easily, because no one else is watching. No one else sees what's happening behind your computer screen in your own brain. And so that is like high value real estate property inside of you, because that is determining the way everything else goes. I talked a little bit about energetic frequency and financial abundance and magnetism and attraction in terms of money and income. And this is another piece of that like, when you don't feel supported, when you feel like you're in it alone, when you feel like you're in hustle mode, your energy is it's at such a low vibration. It's in such scarcity and survival mode that nothing abundant is really happening. And if it is, then imagine what's possible if that wasn't the case. If you did have a more spacious support system, if you did feel like you were really reinvesting in you. And by this, I mean, okay, I should also clarify here, because this is something that I see a lot. I don't mean edutaining yourself, edutaining, and I didn't misspeak there, I meant that. So edutaining is basically, oh God, I see this all the time. It's like a dopamine hit of investing in yourself, but actually nothing changes because you've bought an e-course and it sits on your desktop, or even if you implement it, you're still doing it all alone and you're not actually receiving support. And so you're just like filling, and you're not actually integrating, you're not actually applying, you're not actually receiving support. You're still doing it all alone in a sense. You're not actually having anyone hold space for you. You're not actually processing anything that's going on or coming up. You don't actually have the space to word vomit and process things and be able to have someone reflect to you what's actually going on and what's actually happening inside so that you can identify your blind spots. And so you can do all the exercises in the world, but ultimately the best investment you can make is in changing your internal operating system. And for most women, that means understanding and learning and creating a new blueprint for receiving and receiving support and being able to ask for help and being able to receive it and being able to have sort of like a strategic co-creation in their businesses, because that's the thing that's missing. Most times it's like we are the ones supporting everyone and everything. And if you have a team under you, if you have a business, it's even more hoops or even more balls that you're juggling, because it's just so much. And then there's no one actually holding space for you as a human, as a woman, as an entrepreneur. From a strategic perspective, you don't have a team of advisors who are like, how are you really? What's going on? How's that feeling for you? And asking the deeper questions that actually lead to change, to transformation, to growth, to all of these things in your business and in your life. And the other thing is, your business is literally a reflection of what's happening in your internal operating system. You will not be able to create your next level of success, your next level of growth, your next level of income, unless there's a space for that. There's an internal operating system and a space for that to actually shift. I hope that's making sense. But basically what I mean by that is the next level isn't available unless there's something to, almost like, this is sort of like energetic frequency again, but if there isn't a space for that to connect with, like if there isn't a resonant frequency happening inside, what we create outside is not going to be what we actually want. And so this is so important. There's so much to this. I could go on about this forever, but to keep it concise, I'll just share that. The question I want you to ask yourself here is, what's the story I'm telling myself that's holding me back from receiving support in my business? Is it, oh, well, I'm not at the place yet where I can do that? Or, oh, I already have this thing. Or, oh, I don't think that's for me. Or, oh, I can't afford it. Or, oh, I'll do that in a year. Or, oh, I'm not ready. Or, oh, this is an inconvenient time for me. Or, oh, I have so much going on. Or, well, all the things. Like, what is the story that you're telling yourself? Because chances are you're telling yourself the same story, same narrative in a different context everywhere in your life. And that's limiting you. That's blocking you. And it's holding you back from actually getting to where you want to go, creating the results you want to create, and making more money in your business. And potentially even affecting the way that your relationships are, or whatever else in your life that feels like a little bit sticky or blocked or stuck. It all comes back to this, because you are literally the source of all of it. You're creating everything. Obviously, you are not the source of like the universe, but you're co-creating with the divine, which is the source, and you are the vessel. So your energy, your internal operating system the space that you're holding for what's possible, the stories you're telling yourself, all of that, it's like intermingling. And if there isn't a clear channel for that to come through and for you to be like creating at a very high level, then that divine inspiration almost gets like trapped. And then it creates this like ickiness, and you're not totally in alignment with your work or with your life or anything. So what is it that's holding you back from actually receiving support in your business and in your life? Okay. Now, I want to share this and then we'll go into Q&A, but I have something really exciting coming up. Some of you may have seen this already, and some of you may have applied already, and some of you have joined already, which I'm super excited about. The next round of my signature 6-month coaching program, the Business Alchemy Circle, is now open. I'm so excited. This has been such a fun experience to create and hold and lead for so many women over the past few years. And you're invited. If you're here, you probably would love this. And so I'm going to share just a quick little snippet of like what's included and what to expect if you're ready to dive deeper, play bigger, and grow faster in your business. You should also know this is the last opportunity to work with me one-on-one until September, when this program relaunches. So if you're feeling it, if you've been curious about working together, if you're looking for a coach to support you in your business, this is the time to do it. And don't miss the boat, because you're not going to see it again until September. And that's already like the end of this year. I can't believe it. So the Business Alchemy Circle is my signature 6-month coaching program for women entrepreneurs. This is great for women who are already have a business of some kind, whether it's a side hustle and you want to go full-time, or whether it is something that you are already full-time in and you really want to up-level and grow and accelerate your income. So I wanted to share also some of the awesome results, because I'm celebrating these women who are completing the program now. We actually just had our last call yesterday. It was so bittersweet. I'm like, I don't want to let you go. And luckily I don't have to, because a lot of them have decided to continue in the program because they had such a great experience the first 6 months. And some of them have even been with me in 2 rounds of the program consecutively and are joining again. So 3 rounds in a row, that's how much they are loving it. So just to give you an idea, Naomi said, during the Business Alchemy Circle program, I learned how to work fluidly within my business as my authentic self, grow my client base, and have doubled my income in just 6 months. I want to share just a really quick story with you about Naomi. She actually found me on Google search and applied for the program back in August, I guess, of this past year. Of 2019. And at the time, she was really struggling to even get a couple small tattoos. She's a tattoo artist and a fine artist. She was struggling to even get a couple tattoos on her books to fill her client roster at all. She was hardly making the money she wanted to be making. It wasn't really working for her. She had a dream and a vision of starting a space of her own that felt like, the tattoo industry is very masculine, like male dominated, and she wanted to have a space that felt really safe and supportive for women to come and receive her intuitive tattoo design and all of this stuff. She really wanted to be able to have women who were recovering from breast cancer come in and have areola tattoos done and really more intimate work. And so it didn't feel right for her to do that in a space that was like really dark and all men walking around and not private and all of this stuff. So she came to me and she was like, I want to open this, if we could have a plan and a location and like the whole plan strategy mapped out and all that stuff, then I'd like to have it. I'd like to find a space by January, and I'd ideally like to open by February. She found her space in November, like months before she wanted to, ideally. And so she was like way early to the whole game. And the craziest thing, I swear to you, it was awesome to witness, because when she did that, when she stepped out on her own, when she invested in herself, when she took the risk, when she built the confidence, we worked on so much with her around her business and also her mindset. She started she's like, literally yesterday, she told us, I'm booked out for 2 weeks in advance for tattoos during the week, and my Saturdays are booked out until March 21st. So like a month in advance, which is crazy because when she started the program, it was like she couldn't even get two $30 banger tattoos, they call them, in the door consistently and cultivate clients. But when she had her own space and when she did the inner work and the outer work to create it, it was like literally a build it and they come moment, and everything started flowing from her for her, and she's doing so well, and I'm so freaking excited for her. If any of you are in Florida and you're in the business of looking, or not in the business of, but if you're looking for a tattoo artist who's awesome, she is in Ocala, Florida, so you should go check her out. Her interestingly enough too, she had a different name for the business when she came into the program back in September, and she ended up calling it Alchemy Tattoo and Fine Art. And it was sort of a coincident moment because the program's called the Business Alchemy Circle. But it was just so wildly awesome to watch. Carrie is someone else. She's an HR consultant. She built her business from like a simple business idea. She actually came to my Soulful Business Circle retreat that I hosted on the summer solstice. And she came and she was like, I feel like I'm supposed to work with you, but I don't really know, like I don't have a business yet. What do I do? And so we talked, and the day was really powerful for her, but then she wanted to go deeper. So she took her simple idea, an inkling to start a business and calling to start a business, to full execution within just a couple of months. She left her full-time job. She's created a really solid foundation for her business that's sustainable. And she's really loved working with the other women in the program, and shared with me that that was one of the most powerful pieces of this experience, was having the community of other women who are walking the path and knowing that they've got you and you're all going through similar things at the same time, and there's always somewhere to go to lean into that support and receive it. So amazing. This journey includes 6 private coaching calls with me. It includes 6 group coaching circles, which are 2 hours each over 6 months, March through August. It also includes 6 virtual accountability co-working sessions, which are 2 hours each, where I'm there and like hands-on in your business to help you implement and strategize and create your systems and work through website copy and just like anything that you need. I'm there with you, and so are the other women in our circle. And then you also get bonus access to the Soulful Business Academy program for the duration of our experience together over those 6 months. And that is really powerful too. We have 2 live group calls a month, and we also have a monthly training module that you start and work through incrementally. So you start at module 1, no matter what month you start in, and then you work through each month, module 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And those are going to also support you to build your business blueprint, to build the structures, to just kind of get educated a little bit more and fill some skill and knowledge gaps about running a soulful business and doing it in a way that's strategic and also soulfully aligned and mission driven and all that good stuff, and authentic. And those training modules are really awesome. And they also have some some additional tools that you can use. For example, I just created one for February for the SBA members, and they freaking loved it. It was awesome. So you can look on the website, but there's a different theme every month and a different training module. And for this one, I added in like scripts to be able to basically like template emails for all different kinds of collaborations, outreach, pitches, everything that's worked for me over the last 6 years that has been awesome. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know I had all this until I put it together, and it was really awesome. So they've been loving that. So that's an example of like a training module and the things that you'll get inside the program. It's very supportive. And we also have a bonus training vault from other experts and a monthly pep talk and lots of cool stuff in that program. So it's super, super supportive. And the calls for that happen on the off weeks of our group calls for the Business Alchemy Circle. So you'll have something every week if you want it, to be supported and to be in sisterhood and receive laser coaching from me. So yeah. It's really an awesome experience. It's for you if you've already built a foundation in your business. Maybe you have a couple clients under your belt and you're making some reliable revenue, but you're like, could be better. Also for you, if you're feeling like alone and isolated, I hear this a lot from women on your entrepreneurial journey and desiring connection and community with fellow ambitious and soulful women who are also pursuing their callings and being of service. And if you really feel like you need the support of a coach to support you strategically to reach your next level, I believe we all need that. Again, my experience has been I've invested in that every single year of my business, and it has paid off every single time tremendously. If you want to be hitting consistent 8 to 10K months and you're ready to try new approaches to your business success, then this is for you. We don't do cookie cutter. We don't do probably what you've been hearing out there. We don't do overnight to, $1 million, do this one thing. No, we do like real sustainable strategy for your business that's actually going to work when you implement it and be a fit for you and give you options so that you can feel into what's actually in alignment for you. And again, there's no one right way to run your business or create it because it's yours and you get to call the shots. You know you're destined for greatness. You want to learn how to bridge the gap from your current level of success and building a business and brand that reflects your essence and your true potential. You desire to work smarter instead of harder. I've heard that a lot from you guys so far, and are ready to learn an easier approach to building an abundant business that won't burn you out. This is so important. I see this all the time. This is like an epidemic that we have in our society today with women. Burnout is like a real issue. And wanted to share this with you. My generous, sweet friend, Courtney Sage, her business is called Sojourn and Align. She's an astrologer, and she offered to do an astrology chart reading with everyone who applies within 24 hours of this live training. So if you're watching the replay, that would be 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So if you haven't yet applied, go apply for the program if you're feeling curious, if you're feeling interested. Again, last opportunity to work with me one-on-one until September, so don't miss the boat on this one, you guys. The first group call for this round of the program is going to be the second week in March, so just to give you an idea of time frame. And yeah, awesome. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat box. And also, if you're curious or if you're like, that sounds great, it's not where I am right now, reach out to me. If you're curious about working together in another way, let's keep the conversation going. You can slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'm at Emily Cassel Official, or you can email me personally directly at emily@emilycassel.com. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, if I can figure this out. Stop share. Okay, great. Okay, and who has questions? Pop them in the chat box and let me know what your questions are. Either if you have questions about the training, if you have questions about anything that you've done in the challenge, if you have questions about how any of this applies to your business, if you have questions about anything at all, my journey, my experience, ask away. You can unmute yourself if you would like, or you can type it in the chat box, whatever you feel. And thank you so much for being here and sticking around. So good to have you. If there are no questions, let me know that too. So I know. Okay, the deadline for the Business Alchemy Circle, enrollment will close a week from today. So I think that's I want to say that's the 28th. I think the 29th is a Friday. I'm very confused about what day it is in general. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, today's the 20th. So maybe it's the 27th. It'll be whatever next Thursday is. And again, if you apply, you don't have to sign up and commit by Friday. Obviously we have to get a call in. I have to review your application, all of that. But if you apply within 24 hours of this training, you will be eligible to receive that bonus astrology chart session, which is going to be awesome. I've worked with Courtney many times and it's always been amazing and so insightful and helpful. But the intention of that is really to help you understand what your inherent strengths are and how they apply to your business and how you can weave that into everything that you do. And it'll give you a really great sort of like launching pad for the work that we do inside the Business Alchemy Circle and the SBA as well. So, so if you're curious, apply and fill out an application. You can do that at emilycassel.com/business-alchemy-circle, or just go to emilycassel.com and go to the navigation and you'll find the program and you'll see the button to fill out an application. And once I get that, if I get it within the next 24 hours, we can have a conversation over the weekend, potentially early next week. And then enrollment will be ending next Thursday. So we'll talk before next Thursday. And if you decide to join us, then you'll get that 30-minute bonus session as well with Courtney. Okay, Kelly, do you have any questions, love, about anything at all? I'd love to support you if I'm able, and if you have anything. And if not, right now, you can DM me or email me or whatever. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Those of you who have joined us live, thank you so much for being here. It's been so fun to be with you, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for, your honesty and your truth, and your work in the world is so beautiful and so important. And I deep bow of gratitude to each of you for being here, and for all of you watching the recording. Get in touch with me and let me know that you watched so that I can say thank you personally. Other than that, everyone have a beautiful evening, and I will talk to you very, very soon. And I'll see some of you, I'll probably talk to some of you next week for enrollment for the Business Alchemy Circle or something else. And let me know if you have questions. I'll see you soon. This was like a perfect 90-minute call, actually. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for being here. Mwah.